Hi, and welcome to our second episode ever of Starship Movie Reviews, our spinoff of Starship Gaming. Let's jump right into the review of The Iron Giant. I am going to try to keep this as spoiler-free as possible. So, if you haven't seen the movie, it came out in 1999. You've had plenty of time and plenty of opportunities to see it. So, I'm not going to lie, there are going to be some spoilers, so you've been warned. So, a little background. The Iron Giant is based on a children's book from the 1960s called The Iron Man by Ted Hughes. And the movie itself is the brainchild of Brad Bird. Yes, that Brad Bird of Disney fame. But I'm not going to give too many spoilers about the film. I'll give you a basic synopsis of what it's about, pretty much. So, here's basically what happens. An Iron Giant, who is voiced by Vin Diesel, yes, that blew my mind when I found out. I went my entire childhood without knowing Vin Diesel was the voice of the Iron Giant. In fact, I don't think I found out till I was a teenager, maybe like 2007, 2008, but it just completely blew my mind. So, an Iron Giant comes crashing down to Earth, and he is soon befriended by a boy named Hogarth, who finds him out in the woods after an incident at a power plant. Meanwhile, a government agent named Kent Mansley is trying to find out about this mysterious circumstances that have occurred. And not long after, he's pretty much on the trail. This is an iron creature thing, he surmises. But yeah, that's about as much as I can tell you without spoiling the entire film. Honestly, oh, and I probably forgot to mention, it is an animated film. This is one movie that you need to at least watch 10 times in your lifetime. It's just a great movie. It's a great science fiction movie. It would have been better as a live action film, which I still am holding hope for. Of course, after the Iron Giant being featured in Ready Player One, I'm still holding out for hope that Warner Brothers will adapt the Iron Giant into a live action film, or at least make a sequel. This movie the story needs to be continued. It's kind of like E.T. I mean, it's a lot like E.T., except it's a giant robot that has lasers, and it's kind of like E.T., but with a giant robot. But that's not a bad thing. It really isn't. It actually has a story that flows really well, and personally, I really enjoyed this movie, and I think it is a modern masterpiece, in all honesty. And when this movie was released, it was overlooked by practically everyone at the time. The only way that it really gained the cult following that it has today, 21 years later as of this recording, is because of the home video releases. It failed miserably upon release in theaters. There was little to no promotion for this film other than a few spots on TV and a behind-the-scenes documentary. I believe it was on the WB, which is now the CW. But this movie was completely overlooked. I don't know how. I actually it was one I wanted to see in theaters. I seen the trailer for it when I was a kid in 1999. And I really wanted to see it, but my mom didn't really like to go to movie theaters. She was the one who chauffeured me around, took me to movies and everything. It's just, I first saw it in 2003 during a television showing on Cartoon Network. And I fell in love with this movie they had multiple showings. Like, they showed this movie constantly on Cartoon Network during the early to mid 2000s, and I just absolutely fell in love with this movie. I went out, found a VHS copy. This was like circa 2004. We still didn't have we had a DVD player, but we didn't really use it that much. So VHS was still the medium to find movies for. So I went out, got a copy, watched it over and over and over again, and to this day, I love it. I just love it. And apparently a lot of people loved it too. It even received a re-release in 2016. I believe it was in 2016. And it had some newly animated footage that was previously deleted, which I guess that's okay to talk about. It had a scene where Dean was he was falling asleep, and he was watching television, and the giant outside is asleep, and the dreams from the giant start projecting onto the TV through the TV's antenna, and Dean wakes up and sees this potential plan for world domination, that the giant is actually a war machine from another planet. I thought that was a great scene to re-add into the movie, which is called the Signature Edition, which if you haven't picked up a copy of it, I highly recommend it. It doesn't really add much to the movie. It's only I believe, it just adds 2 minutes to the movie, but I just thought that scene just fits so perfectly. It doesn't really feel out of place being re-added, but I do think it was a good addition of bringing that deleted scene back into the movie. So on a scale of 1 to 5, I guess that's the scale I'm still using, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best, this movie gets a perfect 5. This is a animated masterpiece. Story is great. Animation is great. Warner Brothers did a great job with this. I don't know why it failed when it was released. It logically shouldn't have, but it did. But it's gained a cult following over the years, and it is truly one of the best. I wouldn't say the best, but I would put it in the top 5 best animated films of all time. I'd probably, in fact, put it at number 3 on that list. And I know that's a pretty powerful statement, but honestly, it deserves a spot on the top 5 best animated films of all time. So, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Don't go anywhere yet. It's time for a question. Tell me, for my next review, would you like to see me review a animated film or a comedy film? I'm still working on this series. It's still very early on. I don't know if I'll continue it. I'm going to get probably 5 episodes in before I make a final decision. But let me know in the comments down below what you think I should review next. So, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and hit the bell if you want notifications of when we make more awesome videos. Of course, stick around and check out our other videos, Starship Gaming, of course, or you can watch the previous episode where I review, Kingpin, which, check it out. So until next time, I will see ya.